demeaning, that have been stereotyped. And I claim that this is out of pure ignorance. Of course, all of us here can certainly go with what we all know to the point that it might be cliche, that Haiti is the first black republic in the world, that Haiti between 1791 and 1803 defeated the most powerful European armies of the world, between Spain, Great Britain, and France, to become independent. But again, this is something very simple, since all of us can actually mention that. What we need to be digging deeper under is the connection between Haiti and the US, the impact that this revolution had on the US. What you are looking here is part of a 6 module that I teach at the University of Massachusetts that talks about the mapping of the Haitian Revolution into US history. What you have here, is a series of buildings that you know, also you know. Faneuil Hall here. Further down, you have this church where Frederick Douglass was beaten, advocating for abolition. If you go down Cambridge Street, you'll find the Harrison Gray Otis House Museum. Most of you, again, I'm going to claim, may not know about the significance of this building. Or if you go behind the State House, you will find the African American House. And we keep asking what that means. So I'll try to go through some of those slides to tell you why there's a connection and why those landmarks are significant to Haiti. Because at some point, someone who admired the Haitian Revolution stood in this building and talked about Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, and the Haitian Revolution. You are looking at this particular warship. That's the first naval warship of the US, called the USS Constitution, built in 1798. And why do I have it here? Its first mission was in Haiti, following a demand by Toussaint Louverture to John Adams. Now you are getting a sense of the connections between Haiti and the US. So let me go through those slides, and you'll also be asking, why do we have Frederick Douglass here? Again, so the connections are so deep that they are way beyond what you and I know, because we studied in Haiti, right? We studied based on French books that talked about our revolution, that wrote about Haiti. But we did not have access to those archives that will tell us more about who we are. So again, I put this map here to say, right here in downtown Boston, we can establish some kind of connections. And by the way, fun fact, for those of you who are asking about Haiti, would you know that Haiti is literally about the same size as Massachusetts? 10,714 square footage for Haiti and 10,565 square miles, for Massachusetts. So these are the kind of intriguing connections, but again, the connections are beyond geography. Let's talk for once about the impact of this revolution beyond just Haiti, as I was saying. Another fact that I like to share, when you say discussing the independence of Haiti, let's go beyond the fact and let's go into the impact. As we speak now, I can literally list you that in the US you have 11 states that have strong markers. I'm not talking about memories or something happened or Haiti was talked about. I'm talking about the state of Virginia, North Carolina, Missouri, Arkansas. If you want to do it now, you pull your cell phone and you type Haiti, Hayti, and you find out that there were places named after Haiti between 1865, after the Civil War, and 1893. And you start asking why. Why? It's because after the Civil War, after emancipation and abolition, blacks in certain areas of the East Coast and the Midwest wanted to reclaim some kind of, or affirm their identity, and who had no references in the US started to look at Haiti. And then you have now petitions to name those places after Haiti. So I'm talking now about cities in 4 states that have names called Haiti, Hayti. That was the the spelling back in the days. I'm talking about a Toussaint Louverture elementary school in Oklahoma, built in 1903. I'm talking about a Toussaint Louverture cemetery in Tennessee in 1890. We are talking about the Toussaint Louverture Hospital in Virginia in 1865 that was built to house or to take care of black soldiers or black troops who were wounded during the Civil War. So I can go on, and what I call the mapping of the Haitian Revolution, and show you that in 11 states of the US, you have not just memories or evocations, but you have real, tangible, concrete buildings, hospitals, memorials that are named after either Haiti or after Toussaint Louverture. This is a sense of the impact of this revolution as blacks were trying to reclaim agency, were trying to reclaim a sense of connection with something bigger than what Abraham Lincoln gave to them. To see that we give you, we emancipate you, really takes you from a stage of infancy, c'est Timonoye, et puis au faut venir dans le monde. That wasn't the case for him. He claimed this freedom and this liberty, and that's why the black communities were trying to do after 1865. So that's one thing that you can go ahead and share with your kids, get them to start typing Toussaint Louverture Hospital in Virginia or in Tennessee, or Oklahoma, or Jean-Jacques Dessalines Elementary School in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. So we've been in this country since the 19th century, going back to 1865. So whenever you hear some discourse or some narrative about Haitian immigrants coming into the US or invading the US, we say no. We say no. Because we were there. We inspired a certain movement in the 19th century. We were impacted by either black folks or white abolitionists as well. So let's look at a few of them quickly. These dates, you know them already. And remember, I'm just using like an existing document. There are two things that you need to know about Jacques Dessalines. Again, let's always go beyond the date. He proclaimed the independence. He defeated the powerful troops of Napoleon Bonaparte on November 18, 1803. But there is something beyond that. 2 weeks after the proclamation of the independence, Jacques Dessalines proclaimed an edict offering 40 goats, which you can compare today to about $40, to any captain of either ships coming from Jamaica or coming from the US and who were transporting enslaved Africans. Donc Dessalines offre pour le payer $40 pour n'importe qui capitaine bateau qui pote venir dans l'île Haïti, n'importe qui noir qui était esclave pour le faire retourner des mondes qui sont indépendants. Donc Dessalines was already spreading the whole concept of freedom and liberty into the Atlantic world, and particularly in the Caribbean and on the east coast of the US, when he offered those $40 to ship captains, which would have been now white folks transporting blacks, and to pay for their freedom. He was already creating the spirit of freedom that was going to spread across the east coast of the US. So that's one thing that we need to remember about Jacques Dessalines. Now, what are the connections to this building? Now, you know this monument. Anyone can actually venture to tell me this monument, bottom left? No? Louder, please. The 54th Regiment, across the State House. Anyone saw the movie Glory with Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman? You saw this famous scene of Denzel Washington getting close to the fortress. Forward, forward! And the flag in his hand. We are talking about a particular character that was inspired by the Haitian Revolution. The 54th Regiment was the first black regiment that was allowed to fight alongside of the Union troops during the Civil War. It only took place thanks to the advocacy of Frederick Douglass, who also enlisted his own sons to be part of the fighters. Now, there was reluctance to accept the idea that blacks should join this particular battle against the South. However, the abolitionists, I'm talking about the Wendell Phillips, the Charles Sumner, the Frederick Douglass, went ahead and made the case to both white folks and to also to the enslaved Africans who were brainwashed into believing that they were destined to remain slaves. When there was a narrative out there throughout the 1820s, 1830s, 1840s, saying, I, as a white man with my wife and my 3 white kids in this house, we are surrounded by 200 to 300 actually slaves. And we sleep, our windows and doors open, because they are so brainwashed into believing that they are slaves, that they will never rebel, that they will never react to the kind of oppression and attack they are subjected to. It's because this is their nature. Black folks cannot rebel, they cannot fight. They've assimilated the concept of being slaves. So this was the discourse, and indeed, there were slaves and black folks who were actually totally subservient and subjected to this type of treatment. Now, Frederick Douglass and the other abolitionists, they came out with pamphlets, magazines, newspapers, talking about the Negro Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who have defeated the Spanish troops, 1791, 1792, the British troops, 1798, and finally the French troops in 1803, leaving some 90,000 European troops buried in some deep hole in Haiti. So whenever someone is talking about a certain hole in Haiti, I say that in Haiti, the hole that we know is the hole that was digged by men looking for freedom, and that they did his hole to bury the flesh of people who came to re-enslave them. That's the hole that we know. We don't know about any S-hole in Haiti. We know about the hole that was digged for freedom. So this is to say that the kind of speech that the abolitionists put out started to motivate black folks. Is it true that there was a Toussaint Louverture, a Dessalines, Christophe, who defeated white European armies? If that's the case, why can't we not fight as well? And this is next to those speeches. They have a whole network of abolitionist orators going out for this. And that's how they started to enlist black folks into the 54th Regiment. Now, 2 things to keep in mind. First, Douglass also had his own 2 sons part of this 54th Regiment. Qui voulait dire, monsieur, mettait propre petit qui coulait dans la bataille qui était calmé, he would have lost his son. Second thing to know, in the 54th Regiment that started in Massachusetts, they had created what they called the Toussaint Louverture Squadron, the Dessalines Squadrons. These were specific units that were trained to attack and harass the enemy when they did not have enough weapons. Remember those black troops from the 54th Regiment? If you look at the movie, and this is based on real historical fact, they were not well equipped. They were going without boots. They did not have the best weapons. However, they have to go on and demonstrate. As we see it now, without the resources, you still have to demonstrate that you can fight the same way as the other ones. So history doesn't lie. When today in your workplace, when they are making policies and they are saying that you have to pull yourself by your bootstraps, but it not give you the resource to make it work, still you succeed at becoming whomever you are, including president of the Boston City Council. So that's what we were actually dealing with back in the days with the 54th Regiment. Again, the inspiration was the Haitian Revolution or the Haitian leaders, since they have to convince them that they can do the same thing just by following their examples, and since they have to name certain small units after Dessalines. or after Toussaint. So this is just again to mention 54th Regiment. What's the connection between John Adams, the US